There's a lot going on in the world right now that is increasingly making us feel more and more uncertain about life. And trying to fix the world, we're finding to be a futile endeavor. So now, more than ever, it's important to develop a sense of certainty that comes completely from within, a place that the world cannot touch. Follow along, and I'll show you the key to having certainty in your life. Coming up. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, where we show you how to access a power that's inside of you, to be imperturbable and impervious to whatever happens in the world. And in that, you'll find a power to have, do, and be exactly what you want in the world. You have that power. And on this channel, we show you in a very simple and practical way how to bring it out and know that it's true. So if that sounds good to you, then hit subscribe and follow along, and welcome aboard. Now, today we're going to take a look at something that we're all looking for. And let's face it, what we're all really looking for is a degree of certainty about our life. Like, we want to know how things are going to unfold. We don't want unexpected surprises. And so some of the ways that we look for certainty, like in the most classic and deepest ways, is like having access to health care so that we're certain if something goes wrong in the body or something breaks, there's going to be someone there to help us out and fix it. Or we want to be certain about, different medicines, whether they're homeopathic or whatever, that they will work for us. And if I take this medicine, or I take this little homeopathic remedy, that it's going to do something for me. We also seek certainty in feeling protected. Having, police, having certain protective measures around us that will be there. If, some baddies show up, they're going to show up, protect us, keep us safe. We're also seeking certainty in our finances, having that stable income and knowing that that income, we can rely on it. And also having a nest egg in the bank, something to fall back on. Things get a little shaky for a while, that we have that reserve and we could feel certain, okay, I can weather any storm. But the problem is, the world's an uncertain place. And if 2020 has shown us anything, it's shown us that fact. But let's face it, all these systems that we rely on, medicine and financial and so on, everything that we rely on to do our work, to have an income, all that can just be wiped away. And it doesn't have to be any force on this earth that does it. It could be from our own sun. Like a major solar event could happen that could wipe out all the electronics, send us into the Stone Ages, and it'd be chaos. So no matter how much certainty we try to cultivate in our life and foster, at any moment, the rug can be pulled out from underneath us. It's a fact, and we got to face that. And most importantly, find where real certainty comes from, so that no matter what happens in the world, we can always feel certain, always feel confident, and always be sure that whatever happens, we make the right decisions. And that's a place that comes from within. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to bring this out and experience it right here in real time. But why is it that we want certainty? What does it give us? Isn't it just an idea? As we sit here in this moment, the only thing that we're certain of is now. Simply that we exist. That's the only thing that we can be certain of. Everything else is just an idea in our mind. So why do we want certainty? Well, it gives us a sense of control, doesn't it? Like we know how things are going to be played out. We know what to expect. But that's in the mind, isn't it? We also seek certainty. We want it so we can feel safe. But look at what we're doing. We're trying to prop up these things in order to relieve us of an unsafe feeling that we already have. It's like, okay, if I can know mentally that there's going to be a doctor there for me that I can go see whenever I want, if I can know that money's going to keep coming in, then I won't have to feel this unsafe, insecure feeling. So everything that we're doing to try to have the certainty, and the reason behind it is like to feel safe, to feel in control, it's just an illusion. It's a game that we're playing in our mind. And look at how you play out this game. Look at the actions that you take to try to be certain, right? One is information gathering, right? You watch the news, you research, and we can see how this plays out in our social and political atmosphere now. We have these opposing sides that have all their facts, and they have done their research, both sides, and they're clear about the way they see things, and they're complete opposite in how they see things. So this side over here is certain, and this side over here is certain. But how can they both be certain when they're looking at two completely different things? And they're all relying on their facts, their research, to know. And one thing I always say is, don't add information, subtract it. Pull all that nonsense out of your mind. That's when you really see things clearly. And both sides, if they let go of all that information, they'll start to see things more the same way and be more in agreement. But let's look at another way that we play out this game of seeking certainty. In all the things that we do, we always want to get it right, don't we? We always want to get it perfect. Whether it's asking somebody out on a date, so we want to make sure that we look right, that we smell right, that we say all the right things, we practice, we rehearse it in our head. But the more we practice, the more stale and out of touch we are. We also play it out and, trying to be perfect in the moves that we make in life. Like if we have a goal, something that we go for, all right, we try to get all the answers, get all the information right before we even take that first step. And this is what causes us to procrastinate, to never, set forth, take action on a goal because we might make a mistake. And so we jam ourselves up. And like I said, all of this stuff is just mind games. It's like a bubble that can just be burst at any moment. So the better position is to put yourself in a place where you're not relying on anything out there for your sense of certainty. Instead, you take all of that certainty from within. And when you do this, something magical happens. Number one, you just feel naturally confident no matter what. So like if you want to ask somebody out on a date, you're not concerned about what you wear. You're not self-conscious. You are ready to show up. Hey, it's me. I would like to go out with you. Right? It's that confidence. It's that positive energy that makes a difference, rather than the things that you try to mentally calculate. And another thing that happens when you take your certainty from within is that you become completely self-reliant. You're not looking for crutches out there to feel in control, to feel safe. Like with your body. You're not relying on somebody else to take care of it for you. When you come from a place of certainty within, you access a loving energy where you give your body just love, lightness, warmth. And that has a much more positive effect than any doctor or drug can give you. And if you're new to this channel, that might seem a little far out, but stick around here, because I show you in many ways how the work that we do here has a massive impact on the body. And you can discover this when you take your certainty from within. And finally, when you take all of your certainty from within, you're taking responsibility for your life. And through that, you discover how much mastery you have over life, that you are not a victim of the world, that you can take responsibility and have and do and be whatever you want, regardless of what others are doing, what others are saying, how the world is being. You get to have it your way. And again, this might sound far out, but what we always say here is, don't believe me, but prove it to yourself. I can help you prove it to yourself. Follow along. I'm going to show you a simple exercise here so you can start getting your mind to work the right way, where it can create what you want with a high degree of certainty. But it starts with examining your relationship with your mind. So first, I want you to think about something right now that's in your life or that's going on in the world that you feel uncertain about. Maybe you feel uncertain about, well, the ability to move around the world with all the restrictions. Maybe you feel uncertain about your ability to prosper with all the chaos that's going on, all the financial chaos in particular. So what do you feel uncertain about? And notice how you're trying to fix that uncertainty. You're looking to your mind for a solution. And we all have a relationship with our mind. It's this voice that's ever present. It's always there, day and night, talking to us. Where did it come from? Who knows? Who gave it to us? Who knows? Well, the truth is, it's our voice, right? It's always been with us. It's always talking to us, never to anybody else. It's like our companion that we go through life with. But it's ours. It belongs to us, doesn't it? But so often, our relationship with our mind is that of letting it boss us around, tell us what to do. And it starts when we are feeling uncertain, we're feeling insecure. So we run to the mind, hey, tell me what to do. What should I do? And it sends us all over the place. Okay, here, no, go look over here. Go research this. Or go check with this expert. See if there's a book about it over here. See if there's a website that covers it over here. So it sends us all over the place, gathering information, looking for an answer. And we still don't know what to do after all of that. And when we've gone everywhere, we've exhausted all the possibilities of how do I fix this? How do I feel certain? What does our mind do? This loyal, trusty companion of ours. What does it say to us? It says, well, you haven't been able to resolve the situation. You still don't know what to do. I got some advice for you. Beat yourself up. Right? See, look at this thing that you're feeling uncertain about. And you see, you've been asking your mind, you've been looking for an answer and not finding one. Now, you might have some ideas, but if you found an answer, you wouldn't still be feeling uncertain, would you? And take a look to see if you've been beating yourself up. Maybe it's just telling yourself a poor me story. Why can't I get ahead? And maybe you're blaming somebody else for your troubles. They did it to me. And all that culminates in is a poor me story. Plus, you could probably see yourself literally beating yourself up. Oh, why can't I do it? Why can't I get it right? What's wrong with me? Right? So has this stuff been going on in your mind? Now let me ask you this. How does it help you to beat yourself up? Does that make you feel more certain? When you criticize yourself? When you disapprove of yourself? Of course not. It feeds that uncertainty. And who's doing it? You are, aren't you? So, if you're doing it, now you have a choice. I'm going to keep on doing that, which gets me no results, just gets me into a deeper and deeper hole. Or, I'm going to make a radical difference. I'm going to decide to love myself no matter what. After all, what do I have to lose? So make a decision. What do you decide? Do you decide to be positive and love yourself? Or do you decide to be negative and continue beating yourself up? What do you prefer? Right? Well, I'm assuming that you're deciding to be positive. So that was just a decision, wasn't it? Now, if you could decide that, you could decide to let go of beating yourself up. Could you let that go? Yes or no? See, it's just a simple yes or no decision. And could you let go of beating yourself up a little bit more? And could you let it go a little bit more? And could you let it go a little bit more? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And could you let go of beating yourself up even more? And more. And even more. And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And a little bit more. And how does that feel? Does that feel lighter? And notice in that lighter feeling, does that feel more positive and more certain? Just by making that simple decision, let go of beating yourself up. Right? So now that you're feeling lighter, could you give yourself some approval? Just like yourself. For no reason, just because. And could you give yourself a little bit more approval? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And more. And even more. And could you love yourself even more? And even more. And more. And how does that feel? Do you feel lighter? More positive? And in that, just a natural sense of certainty. You feel that? And it's not attached to anything. Has no reason or why behind it. Who cares why I feel certain? So if I want to take a bold action, ask somebody out, or take a jump into a goal I would like to have. Just jump in with both feet. At that moment of jumping, I have a choice. I could fall into my mind and go, okay, what's going to happen? How do I deal with it? And just get stuck in thought. Or I just rely on this light, positive feeling, this inner feeling. After all, when you're feeling nice and light, where's that feeling coming from? That nice light feeling. Where is it? It's right at the very core of you, isn't it? So when it's that that's giving you certainty, then you don't need to rely on your mind. You don't have to have all of these ducks in a row in order to feel sure about the outcome. I'm just in it. And my sense of certainty is just, I know. And I know I know. And this leads us into a deeper understanding of ourselves that doesn't rely on the mind. And this is what many teachings talk about: being in a state of surrender, being in a state of the now, in quiet, or even in common religion, having faith. See, none of that relies on the mind. It's all about just an inner knowingness. It's through your spiritual practice. And this step by step of letting go, of figuring it out, letting go of listening to your mind, letting go of disapproving of yourself, and just loving yourself, giving yourself approval, just because. That is perhaps the most practical and usable spiritual practice that you could use throughout the day. And as you practice this method here, these couple of simple steps, you will grow the sense of certainty, and you will see the demonstration of it. You'll see that you don't have to rely on your mind. It's your knowingness that dictates the outcome. And by the way, if you're on a spiritual path, then you know this is the only way to go. Because to really be spiritual, to really go for it, if you want to be enlightened, go through an enlightenment, you gotta let go of all of those structures of the mind, all those rules and limitations the mind holds. Because it's all about surrender. It's letting go of that ego identity, everything that we rely on to know who we are, and just surrender to the all. Which, let's be honest, is a pretty terrifying and daunting idea up here in the mind. But by practicing these simple steps, this certainty can grow so that your goal of spiritual freedom is one that you can be certain and confident and know that you are on the path, on the track, and that you can step into that total freedom. Because as you may or may not have noticed, there are many people on this spiritual path that never make it. And what do a lot of them do? They look for certainty. They look for certainty in teachings, right? They want some guru or some teaching to give them all the answers. They want to know everything and how it all works, how it all lays out. But the more you think about it, you're not taking action. You're not actually doing it. But these simple steps are just like stepping on stones. And you take each step and prove it, and that builds. And if you're ready to take that step, I invite you to take it with me coming up this month here in January. I'm launching a new 6-week course called the Mind Freedom Course. It's a very advanced and deep course on deprogramming the mind, just unraveling all of these stories and rules that have the mind locked up on how things work, and all the certainties that the mind has that really aren't true, but seem true, and we can't seem to shake them. I'm going to show you how to knock all of these out completely. So I'll put a link to it in the description below and one up here so you can check it out. And most of all, keep taking a critical look at where your certainty really is. Is it in the world or is it in here? And do the steps where you find it completely in here, inside.